What do you think has been, you've transformed your mind and your beliefs, and what do you think has been the biggest, what's played the biggest role in you shifting your mindset and being able to see people differently?
My relationship with God. I grew up very conservative. I loved Ronald Reagan, thought he was great. It broke my heart to find out he wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
That took that one hard because I believed for so long. But I grew up very conservative, never MAGA. I supported our current president in 16, never owned a red hat. I did in 2020 also because, again, I bought into a lot. But when he lost, I started to change things. And that's when my relationship with Christ really started to strengthen. And I got more out of church and into the Bible. That helped change it. But the more I became closer to God and the more I began to work on myself, the further I got away from some of my conservative values. And I went straight, I always say the middle. But when I realized Jesus is the most woke person to ever walk this earth, I realized I want to be woke.
Mm.
I want to care about other things that are way more important that don't deal with me. Dr. Martin Luther King said, the moment we become we become silent about the things that matter, our life begins to end. And that has resonated with me forever. And so as my faith increased and my relationship strengthened, and I got into the Word of God that told me that, love God first and love your neighbor as yourself. How you love the least, how you treat the least of me is how you would treat Christ. We are supposed to welcome foreigners in our land and feed them and clothe them. And granted, there are boundaries, yeah, but this stuff's insane. We're not doing any of those things. And so my relationship started to dramatically affect how I live my life and what's important to me. And it's not stuff anymore. And it's not, I don't know, it's people. It's all I care about are the relationships. So
Yeah.
that relationship, yeah, I couldn't have done it. I didn't have the courage to stop being a racist. I didn't have the strength to do it on my own. I'm not.
I mean, and this is recent changes because when we think about you being in prison, 2014 going back to prison, 2015 coming out. So in this last decade, this has really been this transformation that's happened over the last 10 years. And we think about beliefs over the last 5 years, right? Because you said you identified with a lot of the ideas of Trump in 2016 and 2020, and you had those beliefs that were kind of ingrained.
Yeah, again, because I didn't know how to think for myself, and I'm gonna say this: there's some friends I have that I grew up that I love very much, love them, but a few of them have gone off the MAGA cult, and I'm always gonna love them like a brother because of who they've been to me. But I don't have a relationship anymore with them either.
Mm-hmm.
But I also realize these are people that I know their character, and they are acting so uncharacteristic of themselves, like it doesn't make sense. So I feel blessed that I got out when I did. Because I think I would easily have been susceptible to this nonsense had I not had a big shift in my life.
Yeah. Do you attribute a lot of this to the fact that Black people are very warm and inviting, and we tend to love on people who don't feel loved on, and we invite people in as a culture?
I don't think people understand what it's like to go to a cultural event in Black America. The amount of love and energy, and when you begin to experience it, the things you see with your own eyes, it begins to change, right? Used to, I'd see a bunch of Black students dancing, and I would have like, oh God, here we go. I would have these thoughts. Now, I'm like, these are some of the next biggest and brightest minds. They're 18, 19, 20, and they're just having fun. Like, it started to change the way I saw things, but I have been loved on. I've been shown so much mercy and grace. And I think because of the fact I decided to go out and show up in Black America to learn has been one of the greatest blessings to me ever. I get treated way better than I deserve.
You get treated way better than you deserve. You know that we would not have that same welcoming response when we go into spaces that are predominantly white, though. You know that.
I have been in rooms with all white people and one Black American walk in and you feel the energy change.
Yeah.
Energy change.
Yeah.
I have walked in at Hampton. The Qs were doing their crossing over, and I think I might have been the only white face in that room, and that gym was packed. But hey, what's up?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're here for a reason. You just didn't wander in here. So yeah, everybody was. But yeah, the opposite's not true, of course.
Yeah. Do you feel culturally white people have been taught to hate and Black people have been taught to love?
I think black people have been taught to love to survive.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Love is the one thing that you can do that can't be taken away from you, that ultimately will help you survive. So, yeah, I think, I think there's cultural differences. Obviously, we were taught to hate. I didn't come out of the womb. You know, I don't sit and blame my parents because they were taught by people that they
Yeah.
loved and trusted, and they were taught by people. So, and my dad changed. I never even realized that he changed until he died. My
Yeah, I
friends
heard you
told me.
tell this story about your father. Yeah.
And I love my dad. I had one of the greatest fathers I think anybody could have. My friends would agree. And the last few years of his life, he had brain cancer several times. And so last few years of his life,
He had brain cancer several times.
3 times.
Wow.
Yeah. 1986. Okay. If you'll let me, brain cancer is the greatest gift God has ever given me or my family. My dad's brain cancer. Greatest gift, hands down. My dad drove a truck for Walmart. He was never home. He cut in late Friday night, left early Sunday morning. That's all I saw of my dad for years.
Wow.
So he was taking speed to stay awake, right? Wife and 3 kids at home. So he'd had a seizure. They went in the hospital. He had a brain tumor the size of a lemon. It was glioblastoma, but they gave him a year to live. Did the surgeries, radiation. I got spent my spinal meningitis that December. House burned down that January while I'm in the hospital, and dads are still recovering from brain surgery. So my dad's now disabled, and it took a few years to get his mind back to where we knew how to work with it, because after that massive trauma to the head, his personality was very different.
Mm.
So my dad, who was gone all the time, was at every football practice, every football game, taking my sister to her cheerleading practice. He's going to stuff with my older sister. My dad was there every single day for everything, unless it was deer season, then he was a no-show. But he was diagnosed with colon cancer in 2000. He was diagnosed with brain cancer again in 2002. He was stage 4 melanoma in 2006 and glioblastoma again in 2010. And he passed in 2011 after the surgery. But the girl I dated with biracial kids, he used to come over every Monday night and sit on the couch with young Jesse, and they would just talk. He adored that girl. And he told me interracial marriage is wrong. He told me this in 2007 or 8. He loved that kid. I watched that man just melt around that girl
Wow.
for almost a year every
Yeah.
Monday night. So at his funeral, some guys reached out to me that used to work for us. They're black guys. He goes, "Your dad's the least racist white person I ever met." I'm like, "What?"
Are we talking about the same dad?
He said, "Your dad treated me like a man. He spoke to me like a man." And because he would give me the shirt off his back, he goes, "Your dad never made me feel anything less than who I was."
But he was a closet.
He would. No, my dad changed. When we stopped saying the N-word, my dad told me to stop saying it years and years ago. Like, we don't say that word anymore, boy. Yes, sir. My little sister was against it. My little sister penetrated my dad's mind about that. And it ain't cool to say.
Yeah.
And so once my dad said it, we stopped saying it.
If that blessed you, trust me, you've only scratched the surface. There's so much more wisdom, truth, and transformation waiting in the full conversation. Click the link in the caption below to watch the entire interview. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss an episode of Vault Empowers Talks.